Hello, everyone, and welcome to Native Drums. I'm your host, Josilia Williams, and today I have a very special guest with me, the Chief of Police for the City of Florence.
Yeah.
Hello, Chief Green.
Hi, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm great, I'm great.
Good.
Chief Angela Green.
Yes, ma'am.
And Chief Green, welcome to Florence.
Oh, happy to be here. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to come here on this podcast and speak with you.
Oh, yes, it's our pleasure, our pleasure.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let's tell our viewers, let's get a little bio on you,
Okay.
about your childhood, from whence you come and where you're from, native of
Absolutely, New
what area?
Jersey. So, born and raised in New Jersey, Union, New Jersey, for those fellow New Jerseyans that know a little bit about New Jersey. So, born and raised in Jersey, and then came down to Richmond, Virginia in about 2001 to be a police officer.
Okay.
So started my career in the City of Richmond Police Department in Virginia, rose through the ranks there to captain rank, and then I went to the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, more specifically Portsmouth, Virginia, where I
Okay.
was the assistant chief of police and then chief of police in 2019. And then after that, went to Lexington, Virginia, which is more of the mountains of Virginia. VMI and Washington and Lee universities are in Lexington, Virginia. And I was the chief of police there from about 2021 to 2025. And then went back to Richmond, Virginia, yes, to work in the Virginia Attorney General's office as the director of organized retail crime over the entire state of Virginia.
Okay, wow.
Yes, before coming here to beautiful Florence in April of this year, April 1st specifically of 2026. So almost going into 4 months now in Florence.
All right. So what was it like being a woman in law enforcement and moving up in the ranks? What was that like?
Yes, very difficult. Very difficult. As you can imagine, it's already a male-dominated profession, but I'll tell you, my journey as a female coming up in law enforcement was when I left New Jersey to go to Virginia, I knew nobody in Virginia. It was just an easier way to get into law enforcement because ever since I was little, I feel like law enforcement, being a police officer was a calling on God for me that I always wanted to help people, and you have to have that power and authority to really make a difference sometimes. So being a police officer gave me that voice to help people. So when I went to Virginia to start my career as a law enforcement officer, I was a single mother of 2 children, a 4-year-old son and a 9-month-old daughter.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, so talk about struggles already going into the police academy. In Virginia, our police academy is 6 months long. Versus, put in a little perspective, here in South Carolina, the academy is 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes, so Virginia is 6 weeks in a state not familiar with, no support system, no safety net, and being a single mother, 2 babies. 4 years old and 9-month-old. So my journey started off with a lot of obstacles, a lot of barriers, the system already built against me. But being raised with, I would say, an immigrant mother, and my father, second generation immigrant, taught me resilience, work ethic, and just because things are hard, you don't give up. You have to work hard for anything that's worth having. So having that resilience and that grit kept me going through all the adversity, and knowing that my children, it was more than just a job at that point. It was their survival and my survival at that time kept me going through. So with that spirit and tenacity, as I entered into the ranks, I felt, just as I told you, the more rank and power you get, it's the more influence to make changes. So I use that as my reason to continue to go up through the ranks. And every time I went up through the ranks, knowing that being a female, there weren't many females in position of power, it was a responsibility to make sure that I would leave a trail that opened a door and kept the door open to make it easier for those that come after me to come into this profession.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. And thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And thanks to your parents.
Yes.
Yeah, for instilling that into you because it could have been another way.
Absolutely, and easily could have went that way, especially growing up in New Jersey. I was raised, both of my parents were high school dropouts, did not graduate from high school. I was the first person in my family to actually go to college and actually earn a degree. So nobody in my family was a police officer. I did not have that background of where people just kind of fall in because they seen their parents do that. My parents were not educated. They just worked hard, and they were good people that obeyed the law and authority. So I saw that in them, and they instilled certain things in me that planted that seed, very God-fearing people as well. So that was always planted in me to always help and to be a servant and to be a servant leader.
Right.
And I think that helped me break down those barriers too of I need to do more with myself if I want to make a difference. So having that background with the parents and that grit of growing up, I grew up, and forgive me for the term I may use, but literally having a crack house across the street. So I grew up seeing people addicted to drugs, having friends whose parents were addicted to drugs, seeing officers doing search warrants and arresting people. And we were those people sitting outside on the porch watching what's going on and talking about it. But these were people's lives.
That's right.
That I didn't realize at that age what that impact was, but then using that and coming into policing and seeing that and saying and watching children and families that you can see when people are starting to go down that path. And instead of watching it and waiting to, I got you, and let me make an arrest, to be that prevention and be that hope for them and that guidance that once we start seeing that, stopping them and showing them another way in life, because maybe their parents weren't able to instill that because they didn't know how there could be another way. They didn't have hope and they didn't have that guidance, but we don't need to keep that cycle going, but be a part of that solution for individuals looking for a better way and an improved quality of life.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful that you have that mindset as you have come here to Florence, to have that mindset as chief of police, and thank God for the seed that your parents planted into you in order, because you were walking in your path.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, there was no guidance other than truly that pull from God that this is you. And I will tell you, because I've told this story before, that individuals that have a dream, vision, and passion, as you know, the devil will throw any kind of obstacle in your way.
Yes.
And they need to look at that as a reason to keep going forward. Because if it's hard, that's because the devil knows that God has something planned for you.
That's it.
Absolutely. And he's trying to stop you. If it's something bad, they're going to let you go. The Satan's going to let you go and probably move things out of your way because he wants you to go down that dark path. So, and I'm not saying, God forgive me, that this teacher, my second grade teacher, was part of Satan's plan, but sometimes we plant things that we don't even know it was the wrong thing to do, because we are human beings. But in second grade, my teacher had asked the class, it was career day, everybody stand up, tell the class what you want to be when you grow up. So when my turn came, 8-year-old young girl, I stand up in front of the class. As soon as I say, I want to be a police officer, my teacher stops me and says, Angela, that is not a career for a young lady. Go home, think of another career, and come back. I was so embarrassed, the only person that happened to, young, impressionable young woman. And in my heart, I'm saying, why? What did I do? I don't understand. Why is it not? But I knew I had to come back with an assignment the next day, and hopefully it would be okay and not be embarrassed. And I said, I know I want to do something with crime and order. So I came back and I stood up in front of the class, very nervous, hoping it would pass the mustard test. And I said, I want to be a lawyer. My teacher said, yes, that's good. So from an authoritative figure, my teacher, I got the blessing that being a lawyer as a female was okay. So all through high school, and I went to college with graduating pre-law and political science. to go on to be an attorney, to go on to law school, and working through law firms my entire time in college, because that's planted now in my head. But again, God said that is not your calling. That's not what I want for you. And I don't know if God did that. I'm sure God did, because he only does life. And
Yes.
forgive me for babbling.
No.
But I got pregnant on just before graduating from undergraduate school. And literally walking across, getting my diploma, did not know I was 2 months pregnant. Working in a law firm, I was guaranteed after I got my degree to have a full-time job in a law firm, working my way up to go with the plan, go straight into law school with this job. Once they found out I was pregnant, that job went away. So here I am, just graduated, young woman, still thinking I'm going to be a lawyer, planning, and God said, again, no. Many times I've even thought about, maybe I need to get rid of this baby. My parents even wanted, you're not going to be able to go to law school. And I didn't go to law school, but I didn't get rid of my child. And I kept thinking there's got to be something more. I did not come all this way to not continue with my plan to do better and to make a difference. So ended up still went to another law firm, got a full-time job. And in there, again, that calling popped up. Now I'm still in Jersey, Richmond, Virginia Police Department hiring. Don't know why, but I said nothing beats a failure but a try.
That's right.
Put in my application. They started calling. I was like, is this really going to happen? Started going through the process. And when they offered me that job, I said, I got one of two choices to make. I stay here still working as in this law firm and figuring out, do I go to law school or do I go with what my plan always was, that seed that was inside of me and it almost deterred for about 20 years. And then I packed it up, took my 2 babies, went to Virginia. Like I said, there was no turning back, no safety net. Best decision I ever made, 25 years. Here I am now, my 3rd police chief job, and hopefully every department that I have ever gone in, always want to make a positive impact, a positive difference, leave it much better than how I came, change the culture to not just do law enforcement, but to improve people's lives, to make law enforcement much better than the way I stepped into it.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
That is
Sorry about that long.
No apology at all. You needed to say that. You needed to tell that story.
I hope it'll touch somebody's heart that feels a calling, but feels like the road is too tough. And if it's too tough, it's because you need to stay in it. It's a reason for it.
Yeah. You spoke it as a 2nd grader. Yes. God instilled that into you. Yes. You spoke it whether they received it or not.
Yes, ma'am.
You spoke it, but you walked on into it. And then, and you know, and it's good for that you have that law background, the pre-law. I'm sure you're able to use that miraculously in your career.
Yes, like you said, everything happens for a reason. It was never for waste. And with that law experience background, it does help me with the training of the officers.
Okay.
To protect them and our public, to think about what you're doing before you do it because of civil rights and privacy concerns, even with technology nowadays and how we use technology, making sure we use it appropriately and that we're not violating people's privacy and civil rights.
Okay. Now, how is AI playing into that?
So I will say, since you touched on that, and that is something that drew me to Florence Police Department as well, is because of technology that they are using. And technology, people think that it's a bad thing, but think about with cell phones and any technology, computers that we have now, most of us that are old enough, that grew up without computers and cell phones, knew that when these technologies started coming in, that's going to be the downfall of humanity, these video games the kids are playing. But at some point, you're not getting rid of it. We're not going back. So you got to use technology to your advantage. just like anything in this world, it can be used for evil purposes or for good purposes. So we have to find the positive uses for it.
Right.
So Florence, when I applied, was using technology already to our advantage. They were using drones to help with response times and officer safety, going out already when officers are not able to get to a scene. I will tell you a real quick story about that I'm very proud of, how we used drones recently that most people don't know about, how these drones can prevent catastrophic incidents from happening. As schools were ending, so we're talking about in May, maybe 3 months ago the most. As schools were ending, the schools came to us and said, we're noticing when the bus is dropping off children at a particular park, kids were fighting. And the school, we've all been there, and the school children are getting in their last fights before the school. We know that you know, some things don't change with time. So they asked police officers to show visibility, just be out there with a marked unit. Obviously, the visibility would stop the fights. We said, sure. But we knew calls for service, if we don't have officers, because they have to go to another call, say a burglary or other fight in progress, and they can't be there at that specific time, if there's no presence, things are going to happen. So when that would happen, we would send up the drone to go watch what's going on, that if need be, we can call in other officers. So this one particular day, we didn't have officers available. So the drones were watching this park. They were watching, and it was unusual that we saw some teenagers, probably around the ages of 14 to 17, an unusual amount, about 10 of them, in the park and on the playground around the time when the buses were about to unload. So while the drone is just watching, seeing what's going on, the young males started pulling up their shirts and pulling out guns. At least 4 of them had guns. One had an automatic rifle.
My goodness.
We know nothing good was going to come with that. Why we have 4 individuals armed with guns waiting around the time when the bus is about to come off with children. So immediately now the drone is able to tell officers as they're coming to the area for officer safety too, but now it's more than 4. Like I said, it's at least 10 of them. So we know once they see the police officers come, they're going to scatter. They're going to run. So now our officers know which individuals they need to focus on that have the weapons, not just for officer safety, but we need to get those weapons off the streets. So when the officers come and the individuals start scattering, again, they are focused on those 4 individuals, and they were able to arrest all those individuals with the guns. So they were able to get those guns off the street, but more importantly, prevent what possibly would have happened if we did not have that technology out there that helped us with that.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. Oh, my goodness.
So when we talk about technology, technology is wonderful for police. We just have to put safeguards up to make sure we use it responsibly. And with talking about Florence Police Department, we are getting more technology to help us. But part of being responsible with that is you will see it come out soon. We are going to get together a technology committee where I will have citizens come in and meet with me quarterly. They are going to work with me on what our policies will look like to show that we are doing audits, review, and safeguards to make sure that police officers aren't misusing that technology, that we are storing it safely, we are sharing it with other and only local law enforcement safely. And they'll be part of that conversation before we get the new technology in on the policy, and we'll meet regularly so we can discuss this, so we can be as transparent as possible. And we're also going to put on our website a technology transparency portal where any citizen can go in and look at how we're using technology. They can look at our policies. And it won't be just our technology policy. I'm going to put all of our police department policies on a website that anybody can go in there and look at. Use of force policies, vehicle pursuit policies, any of those policies they have an interest in.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is your vision for Florence Police Department as you enter into this position?
Yes, ma'am. Well, use my past 25 years of law enforcement in mainly Virginia. Listen what I've been doing the last 3 months to what our citizens in Florence want and need from this police department. So literally we're here at the heels of a restructuring of our police department. Just last week, July 25th, I did a whole reorganization of our police department to help support stratified policing, which is really using evidence-based proactive policing and crime analysis. We just hired a crime analysis person who will be here on site in another less than 2 weeks, in about a week and a half. And we're going to use data that will help us focus on locations and individuals, not areas. People tend to, in the past, with reactive police, and we just focused on low-income poverty areas and just policed and stopped any and everybody. But now what you're doing is most of the times you're stopping people that aren't even involved in crime. And now they're getting a negative perception of our police department. So we're being laser focused on how we reduce crime. We're only going after those individual targets that we know are committing crime in certain areas. And we're keeping our community engagement open, that we're communicating with our citizens on what we're doing and why we're doing it. But we've also enhanced our community engagement unit. We've created a community engagement unit of officers who will do nothing but just focus on positively bridging that gap between law enforcement and the community. One of the things we are going to start with is a boxing program. And we're going to bring much more youth engagements. We're going to be mentoring and a lot more programs to come. But like I said, we just started this not even a week ago. So while we're getting up and running, just some of the things with community engagement starting today at 4 o'clock. This is something the Mayor Latonya Barnes, and Mayor Pro Tem Jabali, Councilman Jabali, a couple of weeks ago when we were going through a lot of heat, that long stretch of oppressive heat we were feeling, they felt the need for our seniors. That are we making sure our vulnerable seniors in need are getting the air that they need, the cooling off that they need?
That's right.
So the police department identified 62 vulnerable seniors. We partnered with one of our Helping Florence.
Yes.
They immediately purchased these Arctic Cool fans, 20 of them. Our police department, my community engagement unit, went out and got donations and found money to get the 42 other fans.
Okay.
Starting today, we asked our faith leaders to come along with us. We are going to start giving out and walking to those individuals. So today at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we'll give out a batch of those 62. Tomorrow, on the 30th, we'll give out another batch, about 20 more individuals. And by Friday, we'll give out the last remaining batch. So we're slowly putting things in place to show that we're here trying to partner to meet those needs and be that gap in meeting the vulnerable, marginalized communities' needs.
That's wonderful. Touching lives.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So now, what can citizens do to help the police department? Sometimes there's situations and we're quiet about it, and what is it that we as citizens can do in order to support The Florence Police Department.
Go on our webpage. There's phone numbers if you want to call, whether it's our community engagement unit on how to get involved more positively, or if there's information you want to give us about crime going on in your area, you can do that anonymously. We have many ways you could do the texting anonymously. You can call numbers Crime Stoppers anonymously to help out that way. We advertise. We're very active on social media. Everything we do, we post. If you want to come out and meet us, we just had coffee with a cop this Monday, just 2 days ago at Magnolia Mall.
Coffee with a cop?
Coffee with a cop at Magnolia Mall.
That's cute.
And two individuals noticed that, and they came out. They were there bright and early before any of us got there because they wanted to talk about crime in their area. And now we have our officers and our street crimes and narcotics focused in that area. So they came specifically to that event to bring us information about criminal activity they believe is happening in that area. We have monthly community walks in that area that we post all the time on our social media. We have, again, our flyer or Arctic Cool Fan initiative that I just talked about today is posted. If anybody wants to come out and be part of that, it has the location and times of those 3 events that we're doing just this week alone. And there'll be more. So they can either follow us on social media or go on our website and proactively reach out to us.
Okay. So how often does that coffee with a cop? How often does that take place?
That was the first time we did that. With Magnolia Mall came to us and said, what can we do to partner with you and bring the community? And so we came up with that. And the monthly community walks, we do that every month. We just did one last Friday. We did our care walk on Clement Street that we do those with faith leaders, social services, and mental health. And we do our monthly community walk. We did that on Pine Street Friday.
Oh, okay.
So our next community walk will be the end of August. So look out for that.
Oh, okay. All right. Wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
I like that coffee with a cop.
Yes. We'll make sure we'll do another one and get you a flyer so you can come out there.
Please
Absolutely.
do. Yeah, so I can announce it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Chief Green, it has been really an honor to have you here on Native Drums.
you.
And your stories have been, oh, wow, so powerful.
Well, I'm glad
And
to hear
we
that.
see the passion that you have for what it is that you do.
Absolutely.
And we
thank you
appreciate
for
that.
doing that and allowing us to get this message out and open, and we want to be transparent and truly bring the community in as a partner with us. So thank you for allowing us to get that message out.
Our pleasure.
ma'am.
And the doors swing open for you to come back at any time.
Yes, like I said, I feel like I'm already a member here.
Well,
as
you
many
are.
times as I've been.
I tell you, God is telling you something, remember?
There, I know. I've learned my lesson to listen to God. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Hello, everyone. We are ever so glad that you have been viewing us with us today, this evening, and we'll be back next Sunday with more of Native Drums. Thank you for watching, and have a great week.
Thanks. God bless.